me, JB. I hope we're all doing extremely well this evening, this Sunday, the 4th of December. Monday, the 5th, is going round, back to normal. No doubt this month will go quick. I really hope so. No January blues, hopefully, in sight, other than what is currently going on the pitch isn't particularly great. But look, we will go into that today. That's what happens when you let the clowns and the fools run the circus, really. So look, first thing I wanted to say is get into this amazing community. Good evening, Logan. I hope Logadinho. I hope you're doing extremely well today, my friend. First thing to say is that this is the best community on this platform. I don't care what anybody says. We're not the biggest, we are not the smallest, but we are the best. Get into this community, get into this chat. As long as we are respectful, we don't mind the banter. We don't always agree, but that's okay. Just respectful. So if you are a rival fan, we don't want the banter. As long as it's all done with respect, absolutely fine. Otherwise, the ban hammer does come down and you will get banned or put onto the naughty step, which we don't like to do, but we will do it. Second of all, I am not a dictator of the chat. This is your channel as much as it is mine. So look, I do generally read out your opinions. This is why this show takes so long, is because I will give you your opinions on this channel. I will read them out and we'll go through the chat, and I'll give you your platform to basically say, within reason, what you like. What topics do we do? What topics do we have for this stream? Now, look, this is one of those shows, Logan, that today, the evening show is a bit of a different show, right? So tonight, it basically is a reaction to the match. So pretty much match reaction is now, so that we can talk about that. I want to talk about the clowns. I want to talk about Amorin. I've been, some of the things that have been annoying me right now is the things that I've been saying all season, which I've stuck to. My view on this right now is, look, I want him to stay. After the comments today, I don't see how Amorin stays. His conferences wind me up, but it doesn't mean that I'm Amorin out. I don't see how he doesn't go. So we can get into that, and I'll get into the things that I've been consistent with all season. I'll get into the things that I've said all season. The videos are there, and the funny thing is about that is that people are now saying what we've been saying on here. So getting your opinions out. I want to know about the game. I want to know where you think we'll go from here, and we'll go through the match. Kish says, my only question is, if you didn't want to spend, and considering our players that why did the owners sign Amarin, who plays a 3-4-3, a 3-4-2-1? I'm in support of Amarin. Now, Kish, look, I've been in support of Amarin the whole season, right? Even after the Grimsby game, I never blamed him for last season. Kish, that is the fundamental thing that I've been saying. When people on here have been Amarin out for weeks and weeks and months and weeks, and I've pretty much been in support of this guy, I would love somebody to go back, right, and basically clip up the things that we talk about on this channel, right? I do not understand, and I never will, irrespective of what people think of this coach, I will never understand why we brought in a specialist coach who plays a 3-4-3, a 3-4-2-1, specialist coach who needs specialist players, and this ownership thinks that that's going to work. Unless you buy this manager, and I've been saying this until I'm blue in the face, I don't understand how you can expect this manager to work with this set of players. Now, I'm going to take out the skill set of the players for a second. These players are not Amorin's players. They're not a 3-4-3. Now, at the very start of the window, I was asked to grade the window. I've consistently been saying that this window is about a 4. Nikarutu, welcome, my friend. Legend of the chat and one of the most amazing mods. I hope you're doing extremely well, my friend. And I scored the window low. The things that I've been saying this season from the very, 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 very beginning of the season, this This is the team that finished 15th last season. We haven't really replaced the players. I thought the window was a 4. You could argue a 4.55, but I scored the window a 4. I've been saying all season, I think Amorin will live and die on the Bruno Fernandes stuff. I never understood why this ownership got in a manager who plays a 3-4-3, 3-4-2 and specialist way, and they've not signed his players. I've been saying it all season. And now, finally, Amarin is now on the brink. When I am now, and look, and it's there. I am so tired of Amarin in the conferences. You know, look, whether or not that's his fault, I know he is frustrated. There are certain there are certain characteristics about him that I don't like, but this is not his fault, and we will get into the game as well. But this predominantly and ultimately is not his fault. And I've been screaming this all season. When others have been talking about a top 4, and others have been talking about a Premier League push, and now they're not because they've seen sense. I've been consistent on here. We've been consistent the whole season on here. I've been consistent. I'm going to find my clips of this community talking about this, and we've been consistent on talking about this the whole season. And our people are starting to realise that maybe it is not him. The damage has been done. The damage has been done. I do not want Amorim to be sacked. I've said this all season. I would give him until the end of the season. The post-match conference today, he's done. Amorim is done. He's not recovering from that. And now I'm at a point whereby I don't see a situation now where Amarin stays. So I want to know your opinions on this. Let me know if you saw the post-match. Let me know if you think Amarin can come back from this. I don't think he would. Alex says, I love Amarin for this. It shows how poor the board is. And Alex, do you know what? Today, I was gonna put on the thumbnail about respect, right? Amarin today, the press conference against Wolves, I criticised him, right? Out of frustration. If you've been on this channel before, I've batted away the criticism of him. I've been his biggest supporter, right? Press conference against Wolves, the Fernandes stuff was embarrassing. The conference that just went when he was talking about how he can beat anybody on any day just absolutely pissed me off. The Leeds one, but finally today, Amorin showed what I liked about the conferences that he did before. He's got nothing to lose. And you're right. I loved what he did today. And look, again, respect to him today. And we'll get into what he said as well. In case you've not seen it. Isaac, yo, I hope you're doing extremely well, my friend. JB, would you take Maresca if Amarin goes? No. Well, would I take him? Look, if Amarin goes, right, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Go and get Maresca. Go and get a Southgate. Like, it doesn't matter. And it's not me being petulant. It's not me chucking my toys out of the pram. This is me watching the club my whole life. This is me watching the club for the last 13 years. It's not going to matter. It is not going to matter until this board and until these fucking idiots are removed from this club. And I'm tonight going to take it easy on the players tonight, because ultimately, whether or not, and we'll talk about the game, I'm not going to get animated because look, these players are the players tonight. It doesn't matter unless these idiots are removed from this club. It doesn't matter who you get, because Wilcox, Berrada, those are the people. Sir Jim needs to go. The Glazers will go, but the people that need to go are Wilcox, Omar Berrada, Vivell. Those are the people that need to go tonight. These are the ones that have presided over a festering turd. These are the ones that instead of giving Amorin a proper striker, they give Amorin his fifth choice striker. And look, whether or not you think Shesko is good, I'm not talking about that. Is he an upgrade on what we needed? Is he an upgrade on Rasmus? No, he's not. Amarin wanted experience, and what they've delivered this season is a failure. So those, and again, give me your comments on that because they are the epitome of a joke right now. Nick says, I'm very much thinking the same as you. Amarin needs his own place to be able to call it. His squad needs players brought in for him. What's up, says Isaac. Toto says, if it was up to you, how long would you give him and what are your expectations in the time frame? Now, look, good question. How long would I give him? Now, look, if this is, I think this is a sort of sliding doors question, right? The sliding doors question is this, right? How long would I give him would be dependent on what we do. So if INEOS are going to back this manager, and by the way, Amorin has now basically said that he is the manager. I'm not the coach, and we'll come on to that because that was a funny thing that he said. If INEOS are going to back him, and when I say back him, I don't just mean two players. I mean they back him. I don't want to sack a manager with an excuse. So what I mean by that is this: Ten Hag didn't really have an excuse. Ten Hag got his team and didn't really like having an excuse. Amarin hasn't had his team. He's a Dorgu, who, let's be fair, is a learner driver. Shesko, who's not, never experienced the league before. Cunha's fine, and Bumo is fine. If they're going to give him his team, I would give him until he's got his team. So I'd probably give him, if let's just say INEOS are going to buy him four players in the next window, and then they're going to commit to buying some more players, I would give him 2 more seasons. I would give him the 3 years. If INEOS are not backing him, Amorin has said today he's got 18 months and then he's gone. That's what he said today, and we will go on that as well. So look, I would give him as long as he needs, and until he gets his squad. He's not going to get the backing. So my expectations now is can we get to the end of the season and can we get European football? I'm not expecting him to do it. I don't think we will. My expectation with the right players would be to push for Champions League. Without players, top eight. Isaac says, I was at the park standing behind a tree watching you, John. Mate, I felt something on my my back. Alex Felix says, I'm not his biggest fan of his system, but the problem is we haven't seen his real system because he hasn't got players he needs. He needed 2 wing-backs, 2 midfielders, but he hasn't got them. And Alex, mate, this is logical. Alex, you are logical. I've been saying this all season. I'm going to go and clip myself up and clip it for this channel because we've been talking about this. And Alex, it's so logical that how did INEOS and the Glazers not understand he is not Ollie? He's a specialist coach. You've got these apparently the best in class director of football. Somebody said on here that I forgot about this. Ashworth. We hired Ashworth. He lasted 2-3 months. It's incompetent. If these players don't know, these people don't know how to run a football club. It doesn't matter who we bring in as a manager. The same majority useless squad of players will still be here. Usman says, regardless of what's happened behind the scenes, Amorim's tactics, press conferences, logic, and player selection has simply not been good enough. First, and Usman, look, mate. Again, I respect that opinion. I do. I disagree, Usman. I disagree. Because how can you expect Amarin to? Okay, it's basically a bit like if you go and ask Pep, right? And you can argue, fine with Pep. But if you go and ask Pep to go play a system that he's never played before with different players, could he adapt? Maybe. But if you bring Pep, Usman, and if you bring Pep into this squad, what do you think Pep is going to do? Do you think Pep is going to win the league with this squad? Do you think Pep is going to come in and go, oh, Luke Shaw's great? Usman, I disagree with you, mate. I disagree with you. Where I do agree with you, Amorim's conferences have been piss poor. Some of the tactics have been absolutely abysmal. But it's not regardless behind the scenes. How can a manager come into this squad with a mixture of players that are not his? He plays a specialist system and not by him his players. I do not understand how that is his fault. You cannot teach these players IQ. You can't. We're talking like, right, Usman. We're talking like when Amarin took over. Talking like we basically won the league. Talking like we've just won a league. We've been in the Champions League for the whole of that time. We were this amazing team, right? We weren't. These players played Ten Hag football, got him sacked. Ranić football, got him sacked. Jose football, got him sacked. Oli football, got him sacked. And look, I'm trying to move away from the players, but when you've got toxicity and you've got the board who they've allowed the player power, they've bought the wrong players. This is not Amorim's mess. This isn't on him, and it's not regardless. It can't be regardless. And this is why people need to wake up to this, what I've been saying, what many of you have been saying all season. How can you expect a manager to use players that are not his? Luke Shaw, by the way, you do know, right? People like Luke Shaw, who is probably going to be on his sixth manager. Maguire's going to be on his, third or fourth? Some of these players, and again, I know all these players are not the same players, but like we've spoken about before, just as you can be infected by success, you can be infected by mediocrity. And that is what these players have done. So look, mate, I respect the opinion, Usman. I'm not calling that opinion out. I disagree. We could bring Luis Enrique, and this club would make him look like Graham Potter. I do agree. I saw you at Waitrose earlier. Was I at Waitrose today? No. Christina says, bro, can you give me the green Adidas for free? No. No, I can't. Sorry. I love those trainers. Sorry, Christina. I love them. They're awesome. Isaac says, how old are you? I'm 20. I'm single from Leeds. I love it. I can see Fletcher coming in when Amorim gets sacked. I don't disagree, Alex. I don't want to say too much, but all I'm going to say is, look, watch the next few hours. Mitch says, "You're not a guy who you need to go kick Amarin out." Look, it can't be. It can't be that basic. It can't be that basic. All that nonsense he said about Storms was coming last season, and then he said in the end of the season, the speech that the storm would pass and the good times would return seems like a tsunami. It's on its way now. And Usman, look, mate, again, I get it. I get it. I understand it. And look, The thing that the Glazers do so well, and look, guys, this is just my opinion. This is just my view. Doesn't mean I'm right, and you guys can absolutely blame. It's your right to blame Amorin. It's all right to blame players. It's all right to blame INEOS. It is all right to blame the Glazers. Right? I respect that view. But I can't be as basic as Amarin out. You know, I want Amarin to go, and I don't want him to go because of the results. I don't want him to go because I want him to go because he can't survive this. Like, I want him to stay. I want him to be backed. It is untenable. I don't blame him, but Usman, I guarantee you, my friend, I guarantee you this, right? And if the channel is still here in a year, right? Let's have a bet, Usman, right? Let's have a bet, right? I bet you we'll get another manager in, and within a year, we will be calling not us or we on here, but the fans will be calling for the manager out, because unless you fix the problem, it's going to come back. Alex Ferguson says Glazers should sack INEOS before Amorim. It's crazy to say, but we were better on the pitch under the Glazers. And Woodward. Interesting opinion. Interesting opinion. It really is. Dino is in the house, legend. How are we doing, JB? We are doing great, my friend. I hope you are doing extremely well. John, I am confused, mate. I am confused. Brain Donor says this is abysmal. He looks well out of his depth. Are you from Manchester? No, I'm not. Brain Donor, look, again, you know, we get in your comments, because I think it's interesting to have this debate again about what people think, right? Amarin is going to be the one who pays, right? But are we going to be that simplistic? And look, I'm not calling you simple. What I'm saying is, if we look at everything in its entirety, how can one person get the blame basically for how this club is run? Barney Rubble says, I think a lot of United fans forget what a pivotal part David Gill played for United's long-term success, made Ferguson's job so much easier. Unfortunately, he was never replaced. Barney, my friend. So far, Barney, you get the comment of the night. I totally agree. The worst thing that ever happened to this club was not only Ferguson leaving, but David Gill. 100% agree with you, Barney. I think the problem is, Barney, I think as time passes, I think the younger generation, the younger fan, doesn't remember what David Gill did. And I think you are spot on. I think what happened to us at that time was a perfect storm. Fergie leaving and David Gill, 100%. Brenda says he's not a coach. He is a coach and not a manager. He coaches international players to make them better. Look, I will come on to the comment actually that he did say. You know, what does he mean by he's a manager? And I do want to get on to that comment as well, because look, I don't think he is a manager. I don't think he is. Look, as much as tonight I'm going to staunchly defend him, I don't think he is a manager. I don't. John, what face wash and moisturizer do you use? I use a mixture. I use Nivea. I use a mixture of Nivea, L'Oreal, you know, whatever it is. I can't remember the name of it. But yeah. a mixture. Liam says, I agree that Amarin has not been given the signings he needs for his system. However, the best managers can adapt to the players they have at their disposal. And Liam, look, mate, I think Liam, I'm not, mate. I'm not. The beard's there, mate. The beard is there. I can promise you, the beard is there. Look, Liam, I think it's an interesting debate opinion, right? I disagree with you. Liam, what I'm going to ask you, Liam, is this, right? Would Pep come into this side? Right? Let's just imagine, and Liam, this is just a question to you, right? What is Pep going to do? And I'm going to use Pep Guardiola. If Pep come into this side and was just given this side and was told you have to make this work, what's Pep going to do with Luke Shaw? I'm just asking the question. Can you put your hand on your heart and tell me Luis Enrique, Conte, Ancelotti, Jurgen Klopp, Pep, Emery, can you tell me whether those coaches would come in and work with this set of players? That's all I'm asking. You're missing the bottom part. No, I'm not. It's just white, mate. It's just white. The beard is there. The beard is there. It's just white. Liam says, on paper, our squad is strong enough to challenge for top 4. This is a diabolical live. Well, brain donut, you're gone. Easy peasy. Easy peasy. On paper, our squad is enough to challenge for top 4. It is. Look, I just because on paper, sometimes what's ever written on paper is not worth the paper, right? Liam, it doesn't matter what's on paper, mate. It is what you see. It is what you see. You need to fix that one green face hanging off the. You need to fix the lace. Why is that going to bug you? Is that going to piss you off? Is it? All right. Hang on a minute. Here we go. Look, it's done. Here we go. It's done. Happy. It's done, Isaac. Mate, it's done. I've moved it just for you, mate. You know, what can I say? I do things live. It's done. Lee says hi. James Lee says hi. John, are you in your bedroom? Should give us a room tour. This room is a frigging mess, mate. It is. Look, it is an absolute mess, mate. This is not a bedroom. This is a studio sort of thing. Got my computer. In fact, I've got 2 computers. I've got bloody hell. I've got. Here you go. Look, I've got. It's a frigging mess right now. I've got my camera over there. Yeah, this is an office. Effectively, mate. Do you think my missus would let me have this in the bedroom? Nah. JT says we need to get the ownership out before. Why do you bring in a 3-4-3 manager and then get mad when he doesn't play a 4-3-3? The poor structure from top, as per usual. JT, you're right. You know, one of the things that puzzles me as well is this, right? When you design a club, right, and you want a philosophy, right, you either dictate the philosophy to the manager as a club and say, we want to play in a particular way. So what we then do is we then hire a manager that fits the vision of the club. And then you don't bend your vision of the club to the coach. We've let every coach come into this team, into this club, and let them basically say, I want to play this way. And we've bought players to play the system. This time round, they've gone, we're going to bring in Amorin, who plays a 3-4-3, not back him, and then halfway through the second season decide, actually, we want to play a 4-3-3. Well, then why didn't you fucking do this at the very beginning before you let Amorin come in. If that was your philosophy, why have you suddenly changed to 4-3-3? The reason why they've changed to 4-3-3 is because they're incompetent, haven't got a clue, and they fucking realise these players can only play a 4-3-3. They can't afford to buy players, so therefore they're having to go back to a 4-3-3 because they can't afford to buy players. It is as simple as that. Simple as that. The reason why INEOS and this football side have now realised they have to go back to a 4-3-3, and don't be surprised, by the way, if Rashford comes back, is because they have to play a 4-3-3 because they can't afford to buy Amarin his players. It is as simple as that, my friends. Simple as that. Show me the wardrobe. I've watched the whole game today. I can't believe this United is absolutely pathetic to watch. Total disgrace. Can you tell me what is the problem? Players, manager, or system? Look, it is a shambles. I don't want to keep going in on these players, right? Because look, I know what these players are. We know what these players are. The fundamental problem tonight is the football inside. It's the mistakes. It is the mistakes that they've made. Amarin is come out tonight and punching. Look, how can you blame a manager who's been brought into play system and not got his place? It's not his fault. These players, they didn't bring themselves in, irrespective of what I think about captain, irrespective of what I think about players. Bruno didn't walk into an office and say, I am the captain. Somebody's made him the captain. Decision wrong. Somebody went out and bought Mason Mount, number 7. I know some of these are before INEOS, but the Glazers are here, right? They went out and bought a Xerxes, not played Xerxes. Ugarte, pile of shit. Ashworth, terrible. They spent 200 million on Ten Hag to sack him. Like, the decisions after decisions, and then you bring in. Not only do you bring in players that are, oh my gosh, not only then do you bring in a manager and players that are not quite right, but you bring in a specialist guy. It's baffling. The decisions are made by people who don't have a clue. Wilcox said it himself. Wilcox is clueless. Berrada, when Berrada was coming to this club, everybody was going, wow, what a signing. Oh, we've absolutely done one over them there. Oh, City let him go for a fucking reason. City, you're not stupid. City let Berrada go for a reason. They said, yeah, go on. And we're there going fucking high-fiving each other, going, oh, City have ballsed up. We've basically, Sir Jim has walked into City. They've got him out of there. Oh, he's the guy. He's not the guy. He's not the guy. Mitch says, do you think we can qualify for the Champions League? No. Niche fan, Amarin's going to war. He is, mate. He is. Ensteer says, it's interesting how the club doesn't back at all. They want to spend in January, but the interesting part, the academy doesn't play a 3-4-2-1. It would have been easier if they play a 3-4-3. Look, I'm not going to read too much into the academy plays. Don't play a 3-4-2-1, 3-4-2-1, 3-3-4-3, right? Because managers get sacked. I would much rather the youth team start playing a coach's way when we keep a coach for more than 3 years. John, who spends most on clothes in your household, and who does the most clothes shopping for you? My dress sense is terrible. The kids actually. My teenage kids probably spend more on clothes than anybody. James Lee says, time to start the protests again. The manager is not a good man. Manager is a good man, just like Ollie, and he was thrown under the bus. James Lee, agree with you. I'm in full support of a protest. I don't know why. I don't know why we're not doing it. I don't know. The only way protests start in this club are if certain organisations start them. So it just gotta wait. Just gotta wait. Are you wearing the missus's cardigan? Yes, mate. Yeah, I am. Barney says, Sir Alex knew the game was up when he left the club. Could have easily stayed another few years, but his last squad he built was coming to an end. Unfortunately, never had the same calibre of players after. And Barney, I think you're right. I think the reason why he left was because he knew he weren't going to get the players. That's the reason. Look, we never replaced Vidic or a Ferdinand or an Evra or a Carrick or a Keane. Fergie was basically keeping this. The fact that Fergie won the Premier League in his last season is a miracle, and I think people underestimate that. Aris says one of the elite clubs is becoming a wet cat. I just can't digest. Totally disappointed today after their performance. Looks like they're rattled, lethargic, and helpless. They are a reflection of the manager, and I'm not saying that to disrespect him. I'm just saying that Amorin is a beaten man. They are a reflection on this manager right now. They are a reflection of this club. Mitch says, if United keep Eric Ten Hag, it'll be going a lot better with this. Disagree. Simon says, good evening. What can I say? More points dropped. This must be the 5th game that's happened. New year, same rubbish and same old excuses. Selwyn, legend. Hope you're doing extremely well, buddy. Are you stars in their eyes version of Mark Goldbridge? The jokes aside, why doesn't Amarim give kids a chance? Thanks, mate. Look, Harvey, the reason why he doesn't give kids a chance, and I'll explain this in my view, and you can tell me that I'm wrong. To bring the kids through, you need a supportive platform, right? This is what people don't seem to realise. If you go to the under 21s and you bring them all through, what do you think is going to happen, right? The class of 92, the reason why, and this is people just don't seem to get this into their heads. The reason why the class of 92 came in and did well, he didn't just pluck them and said, boys, just play. You had Schmeichel, Parker, Pallister, Irwin, Roy Keane, Mark Hughes, Cantona, McClare, I think Kanchelskis. They were able to bring in those young players because they had the support. They had winners, right? And then that infects players. Winning mentality infects players. You can't bring the kids into this mess. The class of 92 didn't just come through. Beckham came in, played for a couple of games, went out on loan, come back and was a great player. Neville, came into the squad. The first season played 10 games, came in, had the support. The reason why you can't play the youth is because I don't think people understand the jump between under 21s and Premier League football. You cannot bring these kids in because they've got no leaders. They've got no support. Can you imagine this, right? You bring in OB back at no, maybe not him because he's played. Let's just say you go and you bring in a Lacey again, right? So you put Lacey into the side and you basically say to Lacey, you are now the starting guy, right? I want you to play against a Burnley next week, right? Burnley will have him for breakfast. Burnley will absolutely barge him, knock him out the way. These kids cannot play because us fans will have expectations and they don't have the support network. They don't have a Roy Keane. They don't have a Rooney. They don't have a Giggs. They don't have a Schmeichel. They don't have they just don't have these players. So you can't bring in the kids. You can't. You can't do it. James Lee says Amarin has United hard to beat without several first in place. He needs time and plays. We are drawing a lot with players that wasn't Amorim's and shouldn't be here. Exactly. Celtic fans have been protesting like crazy, holding the club accountable. Our fans should stop going to games and buying merchandise instead. And look, CRM, I get it, right? I don't blame fans for not doing it. I don't it's so easy. It would be so easy for me to sit here and go, oh, fans shouldn't be going to games. I don't blame fans for it. We should be. My thing is this then. Well, where are the groups? Because I don't think you realise is to protest against the club. You basically need, like the 1958. You need lots of people to come together, right? And until these people and organisations come together, you and I can't just go and stand out there with a placard because no one else is going to care. People need to be mobilised. People need to be contacted. And you have to do it as a collective group. Someone says, maximum respect, John. Very upsetting. United couldn't get 3 points. Also, South Africa lost 2-0. I was hoping we would win against Cameroon so that Mboma could get back and hope Morocco beats them. So with my friend, absolute respect, my friend, legend of the chat and absolute legend. CRM says the protests have not worked. Fans protest before the game and then attend the game. Fans should protest, not attend the game instead of making greedy dictators and tyrants some more money. And the sad thing is, let's just say, for example, people are going to protest, right? For every season ticket or for every ticket, let's just say they didn't buy them, right? For every ticket they don't buy, they've got something like 5 people who will buy the ticket. United is such a big brand that the Glazers are laughing. The Glazers are laughing. And what this fan base does is, I guarantee you, and people do it on here, and I'm not calling people out here, right? I guarantee you, in the Burnley game, some of you will be predicting a 4-1 win against a Burnley, a 3-1 win against the Burnley. Every game, there's a reset. There's a big chunk of fans who forget about the previous result, and they'll go to the next game and think that we're going to win then the next game 3 or 4-0. And this is exactly the same. This is exactly the same as fans who go to games. They go to games for love, and it's so difficult. James Lee says the board wanted the sensible choice in Southgate, a top 4 finish, no trophies, line their pockets. No one gives a shit about football. Agree, James. I don't know who's worse, the previous regime or these new gangsters. I think these new guys are worse and more underhanded. United will never win the Premier League again. Not under these owners. They won't. No. Wilcox dictating the tactics to Amorin, not backing him with a midfielder. And mate, if Wilcox, who is Wilcox? Nobody's asking that question, by the way. Who is he? What's his CV? He was an average player. I watched him as a player, a very, very average player. Who is he? Who is Wilcox to come into this club and tell anybody what to do? Wilcox has no fucking idea. Wilcox has no idea what this club is. Omar Berrada has no idea what this club is. Wilcox probably pisses me off more than anyone else. Who is he? Who does he think he is? He is on the job learning. He is not good enough. Unless I join the club. The only way protests work is to boycott games completely. Mitch says, imagine having a coach that says Europa League is harder to win than the Champions League. Wilcox, Berrada, Vivell belonging in a circus. They haven't got the balls to run this club. Fast forward 30, 35 years is literally like watching boys used to be a man's sport. 80s and 90s and the early thousands was a different level. Football was better too. I do agree. Liam says youth team players need senior players to look up to and learn from. We don't have enough of these senior pros in our squad at the moment. Google Chrome says, mate, isn't it time to quit United? There will never be what they was. Their time is over. Ditch the crap team. Look, mate, that's no, my friend. With the three stooges in charge, sometimes I feel embarrassed to support this club. Hing says we must trust Amorin. The Prem has reached this. It's packed now. The fixtures are so terrible. Players ain't getting enough rest. Hings, mate, come on, mate. Look. We're gonna go back to one game a week. These players were playing one game a week. Leeds played on Thursday. Hings. It's not Amarin I don't trust. Amarin is not getting any more players. The AFCON is not an excuse because even when and this is what bothers me, right? I've watched every single game, right? And I'm not saying my opinion is better. It's just giving me a feel, right? This team has been shit all season, and we've had a full contingent of players. We've had one game a week. AFCON has not impacted this team. AFCON has not impacted this team because we were awful before the AFCON, and people seem to forget that. People forget Grimsby, Forest, Spurs, Toffees, Bournemouth, West Ham. It's all there. Sam Gray says, hi. Hello, Sam. He came from a small club like Southampton to be the director of football. Exactly. Lib2 says it's either sell the club or sack the manager because it's not the players. They pretty much redone the entire team. It's not what? Hang on. It's either sell the club or sack Amarim because it's not the players. They pretty much redone the entire team. It's not the players. It's the club itself. Look, I think you're entitled to have that view. I disagree with it. I disagree because not my comeback to that. My observation would be to that then. So if it's not the players, if it's never the players, then why can't professional players on 300k a week, why can't they do the simple things? Why can't they pass? Where's their desire? They don't do the simple things right. And look, tonight, I'm not going in on the players tonight. I'm just not going to. The players have to take their part. The players have to take responsibility as well. But look, if Amarin goes, that the players would have their part in this as well. But this is not all on the players. This is not on the coach. They play their collective part. This is on the management. Danny, I hope you're doing extremely well, my friend. Shane says the guy who brought him in got his fourth choice striker and no midfielder or wing backs. Exactly. There's a bigger problem with ex-players slating the manager. Every manager since Ferguson has been under scrutiny. Remember, people wanted Fergie out in the beginning. Yeah, agreed. It's United. United are big news. What's really funny, James, is that when it was Ollie, the criticism was basically zero. These ex-players don't give a manager a chance. I think they fuel the fan base, and I'm not saying that everybody's wrong. By the way, I think there are some valid opinions amongst the noise, but I don't understand. I think players will always defend players, and I think until these ex-players get to an age where nobody remembers them and nobody cares, other than people of my age, people are going to listen to X plays when at times I don't think they should. Yo JB, David is in the house. Ranger says like the live, everyone, please. Thanks, buddy. United are big, bad news sells, lose a few, and the media pile on. Pep and Klopp had bad spells because they're too busy smiling and not giving a shit, because as long as they're getting paid while work, Amarin will keep paying you. Exactly. Thoughts on Heaven, David? Look, Heaven today played well. Heaven made a mistake. Heaven's been, in the last couple of games, Heaven's been fantastic. I will not go in on Heaven today. He made a mistake today. Heaven, fantastic player. He made a mistake. But why should he be battered? And if anybody goes in on him today, it just goes to show. It just goes to show what I'm saying about young players. How do we nurture young players? They make a mistake. He's learning the game, right? We have to nurture these young players. Heaven is a fucking fantastic player. Whoever signed him, promote him, because he's been a phenomenal player. Look, he made a mistake today. It happens, but we've got to support those sorts of players through. In the space of 5 games, we've dropped at least 10 points. We've blown 4th place on 5 occasions. So when these fixtures, I wish I could remember some stuff, right? But we spoke about this on here, and we were trying to predict how many points we would take in the period, right? I think I said something like 19 points. Some people said 27 from 30. I said I thought we would take 17 points. If we beat Burnley, we've taken 16 points from 30. Or 16 points from 33. Disgusting. Rory Davis says, get a life, bro. 11:30 got to sleep. Naughty spot, Rory, for you. Sacking man just comes with consequences. Sacking man just comes when the board fraud came in, we lost Sancho, Ronaldo. Amorin came in, we lost Rashford, McTominay, and we might lose Kobe and Xerxes. Sancho wasn't good enough. Now, what I'm going to say on the Sancho piece, Hings, is that what you forget is that Eric Ten Hag gave him 3 months off. Amarin supported him, Sancho. Sancho is Sancho's problem. Sancho has got an attitude problem. I don't blame any manager for him. Cristiano wanted out. Cristiano is not on Ten Hag. Cristiano saw the state of this club and wanted out. You can blame him for that. Look, Amarin again. Amarin, the Rashford situation, I can't blame him for that. That is Rashford. Rashford was blown hot and cold for 3 years. How can you blame Amarin for that? Scott McTominay was sold by INEOS. Amarin had no say. Amarin had 0 say in that. And if we lose a Xerxes, good. I've got no problem in Xerxes leaving. You tell me what has Xerxes done. Kobe Mainoo, probably the one I would agree on, but Xerxes for me, nah, mate. No. At this point, does Amarin drop the back 3 or double down? James Lee, do you know what? If I was him, I would double down. I'd go, fuck it. You've hired me to play this system. I'm playing it. Or sack me. That's what he's basically said tonight. Football News says, breaking, United are to review Amarin's comments tomorrow. I've already put on my channel that watch basically from someone that I've been told by somebody that I trust. I put it already on the comments on the community. I've even said it today already. I would watch the next couple of hours. I would watch it because I think the press conference, there were two things today that were gonna push this over the edge. Number one was if Amarin lost this game and got battered today, that would push it over the edge. Amarin's comments today are untenable. There's a reason I keep banging on why we're not going to make any signings in the window. I went early on that. I've been saying that now for the last month. There's a reason for that. There's a reason why I've been banging on the drum of Gallagher or nothing. There's a reason. And there's a reason why I put on the community tab watch for the next couple of hours, because they're going to have a meeting today. Because Amarin's comments, let's get through those comments. I'll get through your comments and then I'll give you my view. Good move, sign heaven. I've agreed. The only way forward is to stop this trend, back the manager, see the process through. For me, that's the only thing for us left to do as a club. To do, I agree with you on heaven and all the young lads. Graham says, legend, Graham, absolute legend. Seriously, are there any Mockle Masters? I love it. I have no problem with anyone leaving apart from the 4-play sign in the summer. Do you like yellow shoes? Shoes, you mean shoes? Yeah. No, that it just so happens that is the sort of colour that running trainers basically are. Yeah. Graham says, you're not going to sign 2 Chinese players once and God, we won once and how long since? Graham, I love it. He says Xerxes is better than Ben. Xerxes, quicker and smarter, nearer the post than Shesko has physically. We keep on talking about his attributes. His headers are a bit shit, and the lad can't use his legs accurately. Mate, Xerxes not better, mate. What has Xerxes done? Look, what has Xerxes done? Look. I'm asking you the question. I'm not disrespecting the opinion. I'm not coming back on it. If that's what you think, then that's fine. I disagree. Just bringing on one sub was stupid. I don't know if this draw was given Amarin. I think the draw would have given him borrowed time. It's the fallout from the press conference or press conferences. It's almost like once Chelsea sacked the manager, the board thought, oh, there's our man, rinse and repeat. I'm sick of it. If we were to sack Amarin now, we don't have a backup to take over. Fletcher will take over. The job is cursed. Anyone that comes in want to get sacked and get a big payday. I'm going to see you all again soon. Stay safe. Graham, legend. So let's get into the press conference and then I'll quickly go into the game. Press conference was that Amorin came out swinging, basically. Asked. It was the question at the end, pretty much saying that has he spoken? And look, Amarin bit. Amarin bit. James Lee says, give it the gigs until the end of the season. Seems to be running this club is more stressful than any other club. It is, Simon. It's basically what Amarin said at the end. So Amarin basically said, you guys have been fed the wrong information. I am a manager and not a coach. He says, I am a manager. I'm not like Conte, Jose, and someone else. I am a manager of this club, and basically challenging the club, basically calling them out. Do I put my head on the chopping block? Is the question for me. I wouldn't be surprised if tomorrow you hear Amorin is sacked with immediate effect, and Darren Fletcher comes in as the interim coach. I wouldn't be surprised. I think Amarim. I think the press conference today has done it. I do. I will. If I was a betting man, I'd have a little bet on Amarin going with immediate effect over the next couple of days, and Fletcher comes in. That's all I'm saying. Pokedex says, said it to you months ago, mate. Play better with the 4-2-3-1. Any Man U fan can see it, not Amarin. He's going to cost him his job. Look, whatever we think, and look, right, Pokedaz, I'm not disagreeing with these particular players. I agree 4-2-3-1 is probably better, right? I do. I'm not going to disagree with that. But INEOS didn't hire a 4-2-3-1 manager. INEOS didn't hire a 4-3-3 manager. INEOS hired a 3-4-3 manager. Why should Amorim have to change his system to accommodate his players? He's got to. I agree with you. He's got to change his system to accommodate his players. And again, I have said this. If Amarin is not smart, if Amarin doesn't play these players at their own game, he's going to get sacked. He is going to get sacked, by the way. I agree with you. I agree with you from what you're saying, but I disagree fundamentally because United didn't hire a 4-3-3 coach. They hired a 3-4-3 coach. Why should Amarin have to change his principles to suit these players? He's got to, and I agree with you. These 4-2-3-1 is better for these players because he hasn't had his players. So I don't disagree. James says Fletcher does well, gets top 4, full-time job, sacked in 2 years. Yes, James. Agreed. Simon says we have this window to contend with now. Our midfield is full of holes because of injuries. We need to that we have it to class any new signings as polyfiller. Need to get players that can run. We are now second half of the season, and I wonder just how all this is going to end up. It's not going to end up well, mate. Imagine signing a manager when we need new players. Stinks of PR stunt to me. Same old. Look, Amarin is getting sacked. Amarin, look, I don't want him to be. Amarin is getting sacked. I could put my head on the chopping block tonight, and I could go before Indicator tonight, but I'm not going to. All I'm going to say on this tonight is watch it, watch out for it. Unless something, and look, unless Amorin and Wilcox and Omar Berrada can find a way to get through to the end of the season, Fletcher is in and around that team. Also, Amarin's basically said he's here for 18 months now, and then he's gone. Amarin said, I'm here for 18 months, then after that I'm gone, and then they can pick the next guy unless the board decide that I'm gone. I agree, but right now they don't have the players to play a 3-4-3. And agreed. I 100% agreed. And the fact they don't have the players to play a 3-4-3 is a failure for me on the club. But look, I agree with you. You know, Amarin doesn't have his players. Shocking. So look, let's get through to the game. Let's talk about the game. Look, the game today was look. I thought we were better than Wolves. Let's just put it, that way. I thought we were better than Wolves. Some says during my 51 years as a fan, I've seen all sorts of this club. Nothing surprises me. Mitch says Burnley 1, United 2, one bicycle kick from Anthony and the other from Andre Onana. Let's rewind to 2014. Moyes needed more than 7 months. This trend is becoming a nightmare. We can't keep sacking managers. It's not the managers. I agree. It was an absolute horror show to bottom, from top to bottom. I think today there are 2 players I think that come out of this looking okay. Heaven and Cunha. I thought Cunha today was the best of a bad bunch. Heaven for me as well. I actually thought defensively we were okay today. I'm not going to big up the defense today, but I thought that Martinez, Heaven did well. Luke Shaw is worse than useless. I've been saying this all season. He's awful. Lamens, I like him as well. And again, look, I will come on to him as well. Casemiro, I thought the game suited Casemiro because it was very, very defensive. But Leeds ran through the pivot. Leeds ran through the midfield. Look, Leeds were disjointed. Leeds were tired. Today. They played on Thursday. They played again today. Leeds were tired, and we couldn't put away a tired Leeds. I don't think Leeds were particularly good today. I thought they had some good stuff. They had some chances. I don't think they had some clear-cut chances. I thought that Cunha played well. Ugarte. The biggest compliment that I can give Ugarte today is that Ugarte was functional. And what I mean by functional today is he looked like he wasn't a Conference League player. I'm not saying that Ugarte was good today. Ugarte wouldn't probably get into Wolves today. Ugarte is basically a player, right? Cunha, I thought Cunha was good today. I really, really like Cunha today. I thought he was really, really good today. Dorgu's, I don't know. I don't know what Dorgu's playing in a position. He's pacey. I like him. He didn't really do a lot today. Shesko. Let's talk about him. Look, Shesko is not trash. I disagree with it. Shesko is a young guy. We're talking about why we don't bring in the youth. Shesko for me is a representation of that. Whenever we brought in strikers, and again, I'm going to hark back to Fergie. It's boring as shit. It's boring, but I get it. There's a reason why Fergie went for 25, 26-year-olds and then supplemented it with youth. Supplemented his strikers, and he always had 3 or 4 strikers. Mark Hughes, McClare, and then he had Andy Cole, Dwight York, Sheringham, Solskjaer. And then of course that progressed to Ruud van Nistelrooy, Rooney. You can argue that Tevez, Berbatov, Louis Saha, Forlan. Forlan didn't really work out well here, but he went on to be a good player. We've got Shesko and nothing. We paid 68 million for basically Rasmus. If you're not going to give Amorin his top choice striker, Shesko was his 5th choice. The lap, by the way, was Wilcox's 1st choice. Look how bad that is. So they have presided over a festering pile of shit. So look, Shesko for me, he looks like a lad who is bereft of confidence. He looks like a lad that needs a goal. I don't think he's trash. I think he doesn't. Shesko doesn't have the support. We are writing this kid off. We're calling him trash. I'm not calling him trash. We're saying this crap. Yes, he's missed his chances, and I'm agreeing with that. But when are we going to support this kid, man? I mean, the guy's 22 years old. Shesko's come into a team full of fucking losers. Let's be honest here. Shesko has come in to a team full of losers. He's come into a manager that didn't want him. He's come into a club that has no idea what it is they're doing. And he's come into this club. And I bet Shesko regrets it. Should Shesko do better? Yes, he should. Am I giving him a free pass completely? No. But again, we're going to burn through another striker. And I blame the Glazers and the football inside because they've signed the wrong striker. They needed an experienced striker, and then you supplement them with a Shesko. But what they've done is they've gone out and they've gone and bought a young player. Look, they're buying an Ecuadorian young player. They bought Leon. You can't buy these fucking young players and expect them to come in and be this next big thing. They have zero clue. So look, the game today was end to end. The last 20 minutes was basically like watching my daughter at school playing at school. It's basically like watching a bunch of children trying to play football and score with zero rules. There is no cohesion tactics-wise. Amarim brought on 1 sub today. He didn't bring on subs. I think Amarim not bringing on the subs today was basically an FU to the board. Was basically, I can't bring these players on into this game. I don't have a squad. I think that was an up you to the board today, and good on him. It's a mess. I don't think this performance was as bad as Wolves. I don't think that at all. I think the performance today was improved, but it goes to show 2 things. 1, how bad the Wolves game actually was, and 2, if that's the best that we've got, we're screwed. So look, that was like tonight. We are no closer every evening show that we do, and I will go to the comments is after the games. And look, what I guarantee you're going to have tomorrow is you're basically going to have spin. If Amarin manages to sort this out, I don't think he will. There are 2 reasons. 2 reasons why I'll tell you why Amarin won't get sacked is because INEOS can't afford it. INEOS do not want to pay him. But let's see. Let me go through some of your chats. Shesko. Simon says, Ellen Road is still a fortress in the Premier League. As far as I know, Leeds have only beaten us once. Shesko missed chance after chance. When is De Ligt back? I think De Ligt back is back next 2-3 games. Luke Shaw was a massive pile of garbage today. The Premier, Luke Shaw has been a massive pile of shit all season. Leeds played pretty well for a promoted team. That was a tied Leeds as well, by the way. James Lee says, surgery at open heart comment comes to mind. A win would have put us into 4th or above the Scousers, but even they dropped points. Look, mate, I factually, I respect that opinion. I'm not entering into a top 4 debate. You guys in the chat, you go for it. You guys can talk top 4 until the cows come home. I'm not entering into a top 4 debate because I'm just not going to do it. Dogu's still raw, but he plays for the badge. Never stops. He doesn't. Alex Wright says too many points dropped in the matches we should be winning. Aris says, can you explain Amorin's presser today? He's not a coach, but a manager. It's basically Amorin. Amarin was brought in. We've all been told that Amarin is a coach. Amarin today is telling the board, I am not a coach. I'm not just a coach. I am the manager. You've been telling people the wrong thing about me. He's basically saying it's basically a way to say to the board that you're wrong, sack me, basically. I wonder where and when Shesko's next goal is coming from. Was Amarin hinting that he has bad coaching staff beneath him? I think Amarin was swinging today. I think Amarin was totally coming out and swinging completely. So says, as long as we keep sticking to the same formation, we'll carry on dropping points. He only brought on Xerxes for Euro. It wasn't bad, just nothing potent in attack. I think Wilcox will leave United in the next 2 weeks. No. Wilcox is here to stay. Simon, we will be stuffed like an Xmas turkey in the FA Cup. Do you think we could have won if we had Mboma Ahmed available? Look, Nicarutsu, the only thing I'm going to say about that is this. Potentially, yes. But Grimsby, Toffees, Hammers, these players were here for that. These players have been here the whole season. I don't get why these players have been here, presided over that shit, and why are they going to come into this side and make it better? I don't know. Is there a time when we're going to see you be positive about the club? I won't be positive about the club. I'm positive. I'm positive about the fans. I will back this fan base. I'm positive about this fan base. I'm positive about some players. I want Amarin to do well, but my positivity right now are the fans. If his comments today amount to gross misconduct, would they still have to pay him off? Yeah, his comments are not that. They'd have to pay him off. Yeah, if he'd have come out and said the only way they wouldn't have to pay him is if he basically broke the NDA, right? And if he come out and basically said the Glazers are a bunch of CUNTs, Wilcox is a wanker, then yes. But no. They will give him the season unless we start. No, Sully. No. Not after today. I'm not convinced that United are top 4 team. They need a style of play. Mate, we're nowhere near a top 4 team. We're not even a top 6 team. Miss Benny says, couldn't give a toss about top 4. We haven't got the squad to compete in the Champions League. So 0 point in being there. Grimsby result stings the most. Glazers, INEOS and Glazers out. Simon says, I'm trying to be positive and optimistic. Somehow we will improve in the second half of the season. Always look on the bright side of life is my philosophy. Glazer. And look, guys, show's gone really, really quick tonight. I've got work tomorrow, so I basically have to go. One of those shows whereby, reaction-wise, James, I agree with you. Sacking him is stupid. Getting him a couple of midfielders, another striker, exactly. But INEOS don't want to spend the money. They can't spend the money. I've done a video on why they can't spend the money. We've spoken about this as well. When he changed and played the Newcastle at home, they looked good for the first half. But again, that's once every 10 games. Look, I definitely agree with you. I think it would be stupid, but I think Amorin has now made his position an untenable position. I do. Let's see. So, look, guys, all I'm going to say to you is two things. One, watch the next couple of hours. Watch the next couple of hours. INEOS are negligent. James, I do agree. Agree with you completely. And not hire players. Amorin is right. Agreed. You're positive about fans. Give me some hope. Yes, another disaster season. What's next? Look, the only thing right now that gives me joy about this club is talking to the community, right? The only thing right now that brings me joy in this season is talking to you guys on here, because we're all in the same boat. We're going through the same thing together. I do not take joy from this club now. I don't see why we've got to pretend to hold hands, because look, the Glazers want us to shut our fucking mouths, sit down, give them their money, and all be friends. Friends, let's be friends. Man United friends. Friends. That is what they want us to do. They want us to be just like, we lost the game. It's us being, wankers. That is what they want us to do. We can't do that. We have to be vocal. Anytime you see a United post, Glazers out, INEOS out. Like, we have to keep mentioning this. We've got to. And you're going to get bored of me. I promise you. You're going to get bored of this channel and bored of me, because every opportunity that I get, I'm going to say the Glazers out, Sir Jim out, Wilcox out, Omar Berrada out. You're going to get sick of me, because I'm going to mention it at least once a stream. Because unless we do that, change doesn't happen. So I'm going to have to be that guy, because change has to happen. And I'm not going to be positive about that. There's nothing other than this for me. There's nothing beyond this community, and there's nothing beyond fans. Because I, as much as we may agree to disagree, I respect you guys. So that's the only thing that brings me joy, is when we talk about this, when we basically debate it out, we share it together. We do. So look, guys, thank you. Amazing show. I will get through some more. Agreement. Amarin is untenable. Board always wins. Have a good start to it. Thank you, my friend. Thank you for the stream. Thank you, buddy. Get ready for Burnley. Team is gonna park the bus. That we're all one United family. No pun intended. Exactly we are. Chelsea showed they have standards. So do Madrid. We need to do the same. Ray says Amorim wants the sack. For me, he has no clue. Content. No, Ray, mate. There is nothing wrong with that opinion, my friend. We're all in this together. We are. I will not get bored with this stream. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate that, mate. If he goes, it must be Xavi. I don't want him to go, though. It's still the beginning. This is so difficult. That guy says, I think it doesn't matter if we don't do anything, as I reckon they'll sack Amarin and just try to move on. Nothing happened. It is. It's basically what they're going to do is they're going to have a big festering shit, right? And they're just going to walk away from it. It's basically like walking down the street with your dog, letting your dog do a massive dump, and you've not got bags, so you just leave it there. Walk away like never happened. I get Amarin point, but he hasn't improved the team. Just watch the space about Amarin. Enjoy listening to you tonight. Thank you. Tanya. Look, I appreciate the love and the support. Amorin out, Conte in, give him full control. This is right. Paul James Owens, hi mate, how you doing? Legend, Paul James, I hope you are doing extremely well, my friend. I'm doing well, and I hope you are too. Have a good Monday. I will try to. INEOS Glazers, where the transfer is not going to happen. So look, guys, absolute legends. You guys make it better. I mean it. I know it's cheesy, but look, going, watching these matches, talking it out with you guys. We don't all have to agree. I love your comments. I love the fact that we don't agree. I love the fact that we all have our different views. I think fundamentally we can disagree on players. I think we can disagree on the manager. I think that collectively, I think we probably always agree on Glazers and INEOS are to blame. But look, I'm going to keep banging that drum until something happens. So look, Simon says he's going to follow the club until he pushes up. The Daisies, I can see why he didn't want to come mid-season. That plays a big part regarding the lack of signings. I do agree. Paul says, my boy went to the game today instead of me. Fair play to say he wasn't impressed. And look, before I go, and this is why, I will always say this about us fans, right? To me, a fan is a fan is a fan. It doesn't matter if you're in Mumbai. It doesn't matter if you're in Manchester. It doesn't matter to me. But I have to give special recognition and a shout out to those who go to games, especially the away fans, because you guys, it's not just you're not just paying for a subscription and watching it in the comfort of your own home. You go to the games, you pay your money, you pay your travel expenses, you go to the game, you might eat food. It's so expensive, and you go the game after game, you go to the away games, and you're having to watch this turgid shit live, and it's not cheap. It is a passion. People don't always understand passions. People have passions for, I don't know, shoes, have passions for, I don't know, cars, and as Paul says there, away games are better. The ground has basically lost its spirit. And Paul, mate, that pains me. It pains me to hear that, and it just goes to show. And look, whenever you're on here, and Paul comes on here quite a bit, give Paul some love, right? Because Paul James, he goes to games, and if you want to know what it's really, really like, listen to Paul, because you get a different sense of what the club is from people that go to the games. I've taken so many insults from rival fans, but I just let it go. And Simon, mate, we do, but that's why this community is good, because we all come together, we all share in the disaster that is this club. But look, we keep going. Hopefully we all come together, and this is a platform for us guys to come together, and girls. Miss Bunny says insults are part of football. Yeah, I mean, look, Miss Bunny, we don't mind the banter on here. I've got no problem with banter, no problem at all. But there is a fine line between banter. Like, I don't mind being called shit. Like, I don't mind all that. But when it gets personal, insults, banter are fine, but there is a line, in my humble view. So look, guys, absolutely fantastic stream. Thank you so much for being here. You guys are legends. I can't tell you how amazing your support is. It blows me away. And look, you guys are legends. Absolutely just fantastic. So look, guys, thank you for the support. I will be back tomorrow, back in work tomorrow. So I don't know if I'll be doing a stream in the day. probably will do one. Neil Boy says, hello, my friend. Hope you're doing extremely well. So I will be back tomorrow at some point. Hopefully. Just watch tomorrow. That's all I'm going to say. Just watch it. Just watch this match. Look, guys, embarrassing. Arsenal, Liverpool spend and do the same shit. It says, look, guys, thank you so much for being here. I'm JB. This is the United Devil channel. Legends, of course. I will be back tomorrow. James says, breaking news: the Glazers are shit. I'm ending on that, James. Breaking news: the Glazers are shit. We've known it for 20 odd years, right? So look, guys, I will be back tomorrow. Thank you for the support. Have a good rest of your morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are. Have a good Monday. If you're back at work, have a good day back. The week begins, and I will be back tomorrow. So look, guys, thank you so much. Take care, and I'll see you on the next one. Take care.